Yo, happy Friday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore. I'm the founder of Creator Wizard, teaching you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorship. Today, we are going to be talking about how to pick a profitable niche that doesn't feel limiting. So this was actually my keynote that I gave at the Craft and Commerce conference for ConvertKit. This was in Boise, Idaho last month. And it was really, really well received. I got so much awesome feedback. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about this presentation that I gave, because I think picking a niche is always a very fraught topic for most people, actually. And I, over the last couple of years, have found myself stumbled into this niche of sponsorship coaching. And a lot of people have asked me over the last few years, like, how did you make that decision? Like, what was the process like of ultimately determining that this is what you wanted to focus on? And I think there's a lot of lessons in here for you as a creator trying to figure out, like, how do I get my name out there? How do I, not be just one in the crowd of, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of creators? How do I stand out, both to my audience as well as to prospective partners, right? And so, excited to talk about this. I'm also very excited to share that we have a sponsor for today's live stream. Wanted to thank Uscreen so much for sponsoring this live, and I'm going to be talking about them a little bit later on in the stream. All right, so who do we got here? We got Slav Guns. What's going on, Max? We've got D and Fan. What's up, D? Good to see you here. We've got Ramen Razzi. We've got I Make That. Good to see you here. We're live across a bunch of different platforms. Let me pull up my Instagram to see who's on the Instagram. We've got Runner Caroline Olson. We've got Dizzy Miss Lizzie. Good to see you here. And we're live on TikTok. What do we got people on TikTok. We're going live everywhere. All right. So as you know, on these live streams, my time is your time on these lives. So a little bit later, we're going to be doing a Q&A. So any questions you have around sponsorships, negotiations, brand deals, etc., please let me know. Oh, Max says, oh, wait, this is a live stream and not a pre-existing recording. Yeah, no, this is not a premiere. This is a live stream. We've got Kaylee Carroll here as well. We've got Heart by Hearts. Good to see you here. Thank you for being here today. All right, so let's dive in. So the title of this talk was called the Trojan Horse Strategy. And Trojan is an acronym, and I'm just going to get right into it without kind of the whole backstory. So basically, I've created this 6-step process of picking a profitable niche. And so the first step, the T in Trojan, is theory, which is basically, what do you believe? Like, what is a theory that you have? What do you believe? Because my theory when I started out creating content in this area was that when it comes to collaborating with brands, most creators are just winging it, right? Because I had this experience, obviously being a creator for many years doing it and just kind of stumbling around, making a ton of mistakes. But I also ran this influencer marketing agency for 7 years, and I was on the receiving end of a lot of mistakes. Like I was on the receiving end of a lot of interactions, messages, emails with creators, and I just saw like how the lack of professionalism and the lack of responsiveness and like so many mistakes that creators make when they negotiate or when they interact with brands. And so this was a theory that I had, that like most creators are just winging it, right? My friend Jay actually asked guests on his podcast. He asked them, what do you believe to be true but have no data to back it up? And I thought that this was a really interesting question to ask, because I think that a lot of us have opinions that we're either too scared to share publicly, or we feel as though we're not qualified to talk about it, right? And so Jay, actually, we were at a conference called CEX 2 years ago, and he came to me with this theory that he had, right? Which was that, he thought most creators only associate him and his business with community building. And so you know what Jay did? He actually asked them. He sent out a tweet and he said, what words or ideas do you associate with me or my work? And everyone came back and said community, 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 right? And so he like really realized, like, okay, this is definitely a theory that I have, and I need to test this in a following way. I can't just wonder this, right? One of my clients, Paul, had a theory that most people in his industry didn't understand how to properly run and grow a business. You want to know Paul's industry? He teaches lawn care professionals how to grow their businesses. He's now getting 150,000 downloads a month on his podcast. And so one of the common mistakes when it comes to picking a theory is that you just pick a boring one or an obvious theory, right? And the takeaway is that you have to pick a theory that invites debate. If you were at a dinner party, right? If you were like amongst a group of friends, like you have to pick a theory that you would have fun defending, okay? So this is like a really, really important point here is that when you are like thinking, okay, like here's this area that I have a little bit of expertise around. I have some kind of spiky points of view. There's this article that Wes Cow wrote called Spiky Points of View, and you can Google it. It's a really great article. And her theory, the thing that she posits in this is that the people that stand out, the people that receive the most traction on the internet is people who have what's called spiky points of view. This is not necessarily just like polarizing points of view. It's you take a stance. You're not just being like, well, it could be this, but it also could be this. It's like, no, this is what I fundamentally believe. An example of a spiky point of view that I have is that I believe 99% of creators should not have managers. And I've more recently started talking about this idea, and I've received pushback. I've received people who have got managers who have come to me and like really kind of rebutted my points and like quote tweeted me and like all this stuff. And it's a thing, right? But this is something that I firmly believe, and I have no problem backing this up. And so you have to pick a theory that invites debate. So that's the T in the Trojan horse method. The R is that you have to research, right? Are people even interested in this? So like, if you want to try and validate this idea, you need to figure out, is this something that people are already talking about or that they need help with? And so like, how do you do that, right? A lot of people wonder like, how do you actually research this? It's pretty easy. You just Google it. You search on Twitter, you search on YouTube. You know, like what happens when I looked on YouTube about sponsorship stuff, there were lots and lots of videos of people searching for advice about brand deals and sponsorships, which is actually a very good thing. Right? Because a lot of people think that, oh, it's just way too saturated now. There's no room for me, right? And so you have to go back to your theory. Remember, this has to invite debate, which means that there will always be a lane for you to share your perspective. The other thing you can do when it comes to researching is I actually asked people, right? I spoke with tons of creators. I cold emailed them to validate that this might be something that people were actually struggling with. And so the common mistake when it comes to researching the theory that you want to start talking about is just doing lazy research, right? 10 minutes of Googling is not enough. And so you have to research until you find opposing theories. You research until you watch something or you read something and think, you know what, that's actually not right. I don't agree with that. And so that is your opening. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick pause here to acknowledge a bunch of you who just came in here. We're talking about how to pick a profitable niche that doesn't feel limiting. We've got Delilah Rodriguez, we've got Chris Floyd, good to see you here. Irvine Mesa, good to see you. Drea's Curious Cuisine, Architectural Sheet Metal 101, good to see you here. We've got Chris Holtz, we've got Lily Majur, we've got DIY Your House, we've got Flour, Water, and Salt, Fashion IPA, good to see you all here. This is Jessica Rose. What's up, Jessica? Good to see you here. Long time. All right, so we're talking about my Trojan horse method, which is going to help you pick your new niche. Okay, so we've gone over the T and the R. So T is you have to pick a theory that invites debate. R is you have to research until you find opposing theories. And then the O in the Trojan horse is outline. So like, once you validate that this seems like a good idea, now it's time to make an outline of, okay, how would I actually do this, right? How would I actually make this happen? And so what I did is I actually made a mind map, right? I said, okay, in the middle, like what would I actually do if this would be a business? And I thought, okay, I can create content on social media, right? I can do YouTube, my YouTube channel. I can do Twitter and TikTok, maybe to kind of nurture people. I'm going to start an email list. I'm going to have a newsletter. And then, yeah, maybe when I start thinking about monetization, I can do courses, I can do coaching, I can do maybe sponsorships eventually, affiliate marketing, right? There's all these different ways. And so I kind of laid it all out. I outlined it. Right. And so I think a lot of creators miss this step, is that when they start talking about a niche, they just kind of they really do not consider all the potential implications or all the potential opportunities that you might uncover when you just sit and you meditate on this. You sit and you think like, oh, like how would this kind of look? Max in the chat says, yeah, mind maps are amazing. Yeah, 100%. Like it's so critical. And you think like, I'm a creator, like I'm a YouTuber, I'm a, podcaster. Like, do I really, this seems like super formal. I'm not really sure if this is for me, but remember, you are running or hoping to start and run a business here. This is something that like planning is your friend here in this scenario. So it's so important to outline. And so the common mistake here is just not outlining at all, right? You have to outline until it feels like a real opportunity. You put this all down on paper and you're like, okay, I have to do this now because this really feels like a huge opportunity. And contrast that with it. Maybe you do put this down on paper. Maybe you do try and outline this and you feel like, you know what, I'm not sure there's a business here. I'm not sure that like the opportunity that I thought was here is really here. And like that is equally of a valid conclusion from this process. Okay. So that's the O in the Trojan horse. The J in the Trojan horse is you have to jump. Okay, you just have to start trying stuff. You have to stop overanalyzing stuff to death. I have a friend named Zawar who used to work at PepsiCo in brand innovation, and he did a ton of research and decided that he wanted to start a prenatal vitamin company. And you know what he did? He started a TikTok talking about all the research that he was doing. And he only has like 15 videos on there, and multiple have gone viral. You know what he's also doing? He's growing a huge email list. He is off of the back of that, and he is just jumping in, okay? My friend Jay actually decided to rebrand his podcast, right? Remember, he said, I wanted to speak to more creators, but his podcast was called Creative Elements. Slight different there, but he decided to rebrand it to something called Creator Science, which is a huge undertaking. And so I think the common mistake here when it comes to this jumping phase is just dipping your toes in to test the water. You're like, oh, I'm going to start tweeting for a couple days and, about this kind of new niche, this new thing. Oh, I only got 3 likes on this. I'm going to throw my hands up in the air. And you know what? I guess this isn't going to work. I guess this isn't for me. And so that is a huge mistake. You have to make a splash. You have to have some fun with it, right? That's the takeaway, right? And because you know that feeling when you jump into the water, right? And it's cold, right? And then you start paddling around, you start swimming around, and then you start adjusting to the temperature, right? You're doggy paddling, and then you realize, like, you know what? This is actually pretty nice. I actually prefer it in here, right? Regardless of what the metrics are going to look like. So the A in the Trojan horse strategy is what I call analyze, right? So now is the time to take a step back and analyze. Is this thing working? What is it? First of all, what is a win to you? Right? Is it something that you are just trying to scratch a creative itch? Is it something that you want to make more money with? Like, what are your success metrics, right? Because if the only thing that you're going to be thinking about is, oh, I'm going to be making money off of this, like, it's probably going to take a while. I was posting content on Creator Wizard for almost a year and a half before I ever there was any way to pay me. I didn't have a course. I didn't have coaching. There was nothing. I was making a few cents here and there off YouTube AdSense, but like, that's not a meaningful amount of money. But I really passionately believed in this, and I was analyzing and seeing like I'm receiving comments, I'm receiving DMs, people are emailing me, people are very interested in this topic. And so down the stream or down the line, I'm definitely I see the way to monetize this, remember, because I did the mind map, right? But I was analyzing it, right? And I was figuring, okay, is this thing working? And so again, I was not receiving a lot of views on my YouTube video, but eventually I started to make some pretty good money, right? Off the coaching and the courses and all that stuff too. And so it was this thing that I kind of stumbled on, which is like, look, sponsorships are where a lot of creators are making most of their money, right? And so I think the common mistake here with this analysis step is just, oh, I'm going to be super granular about this. I'm going to track my likes week over week and views and all this stuff. And that's fine, of course. But really the biggest opportunity is you have to test until it feels colder outside the water. Remember what I was mentioning, how, you get in, you adjust, you're swimming around, it feels good in the pool, and then you get out, right? And you realize it's actually kind of chilly in here. I think I prefer it inside the water. And so I like to talk about this analogy of get to the point in you picking this niche and talking about this new type of content where regardless of what the metrics are, regardless of what it's like, you actually prefer it. You actually prefer talking about this thing because it's going to require that level of consistency and scale for the level of quality and consistency for you to start moving the needle. And it may take a little bit of time, right? And then the N in the Trojan horse strategy is nurture, right? You have to nurture it. Especially if you've already achieved a certain level of success in your main gig. Growth is going to feel probably super slow, but you cannot give up. There's this blog post that Nathan Barry, who's the CEO of ConvertKit, shared. It was called Knowing When to Quit. And he talked about how one of his friends or advisors at one point in the journey of ConvertKit called him out. He basically said, admit that ConvertKit is a failure and shut it down. Move on to something else, right? You'll be successful at whatever you do. So just start something new, right? Or take ConvertKit seriously and give it the time, the money, and the attention that it deserves and build it into a real business. And he goes on to share that within 15 months of that conversation, he had doubled down and grew the revenue from $1,300 a month to $130,000 a month. And they are now doing $2.9 million a month. Right. And so I think that the common mistake here when it comes to nurturing a new niche or a new topic is just giving up too soon. Right. You have to give it all you've got. One of my favorite books is called Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. And the book's premise is that being good at what you do is no longer enough. To be a key person of influence, you have to stand out and be recognized. You are who Google says you are. Okay. And this really, really resonates with me because there's lots and lots of people who are vying to be in this creator economy. There's lots of people trying to vie to make a name for themselves in your niche. But what is it that's going to be, what is it about you? What is it about the thing that you're talking about that's going to make you stand out and be recognized within your core competency, within your area of expertise? And that is something that I've obsessed about over the last 3 years. There is no one. There's people here and there who are kind of starting to do what I do, and that's fine. But I literally do not feel as though I have competitors because there is literally no one that is going to be able to touch the body of work that I'm going to generate over the next decade on sponsorship strategy. There's simply no one, and I know that. And so I just don't, that allows me to feel peace with not needing to post on social media all the time and make TikToks a million times a day and all this stuff. And that's fine. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to do that. But when you stretch out the time horizon of how long you want to have an impact, I'm looking in decades here. I can see myself doing and talking about this and helping people with sponsorships for decades. Right. And I think that you will never have a competition when you have that long of a time horizon. So again, this is my Trojan horse method. So just to summarize, if you're wanting to find your niche, right? You have to pick a theory that invites debate. You have to research until you find opposing theories. You have to outline until it feels like a real opportunity, and you have to make a splash. You have to test until it feels colder outside the water, and you have to give it all you've got. So I hope that this is helpful for you because picking a niche is, again, a very fraught decision for a lot of people because they feel constrained. They feel as if I pick and I focus on this one thing, it's going to not only limit my potential audience, but it's also going to limit my potential opportunities because if I'm too narrow, I'm not going to be able to work. If I'm a lifestyle creator, it's easy. I can work with any brand, food and fashion and travel and hospitality and blah, 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 right? It's it seems like it makes sense. But when you pick a niche, when you are the big fish in the small pond, you are going to get the lion's share of the amount of opportunities because there's only a finite supply of people like you in this space. If you look at me, I am how much more meta could you get? I am a sponsorship coach. I am teaching people about sponsorship strategy, and yet I have just forged a bunch of partnerships with various creator economy companies because they're all trying to reach business-minded creators who are investing in their business. That is a very specific persona of creator. This is not someone who's messing around on, TikTok or Reels or whatever and just doing it for fun and not trying to make money. This is people who are trying to build their business and make revenue. A lot of these people are making significant revenue, side hustling, or even full-time creators, right? That is a very specific persona of creator. I have 30,000 of them on my newsletter, 31,000 of them on my newsletter, right? And so the brands and the companies, the creator economy folks who want to partner with me, that's the reason that they're doing that is because there's not a lot of avenues for them to reach that persona of customer because that's their ideal customer, right? And so this is a really, 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 really important mindset shift to have around picking a niche is that it actually explodes your opportunities. It explodes the potential for not only your audience, but your partnership opportunities. So I'm going to take a swig and dive back into the chat for a second here. Oh my goodness. Danny Marie says, I absolutely love these. They've been so helpful. Are you awesome? Yeah. I do post the lives. They're archived. The live streams are archived on my YouTube channel afterwards. So yeah, thank you, DIY Your House, for mentioning that. Good to see you both here. All right. So I just want to take a quick pause here and acknowledge our sponsor for today, which is Uscreen. Remember how I mentioned that we just forged some awesome partnerships with some various creator economy companies? Well, Uscreen is one of them. We're so appreciative of their support. So we can get a little meta here because we talk all about sponsorships here. So the sponsorship entails, as part of Uscreen, is sponsoring these live streams, sponsoring my private community, as well as sponsoring my newsletter, right? And so I think that this is like a really great example of like an authentic connection that we made at some conferences that we went to over the last several months. And they came to us. We started having this conversation around, shining a spotlight on what they're working on at Uscreen. And so I'm going to share my screen here because I have a really cool thing to share about Uscreen. So this is a case study that I think is really interesting. So first of all, let's talk about what Uscreen is. So Uscreen is an all-in-one membership platform for creators. So if you're a video creator that you think, I actually think there might be some exclusive video content that I want to share with the community. We're all trying to do similar thing here, and so maybe there's a place for me to share other types of unique content in a different forum. And this is something that people are actually going to pay you for on a monthly basis. And so the reason I wanted to share this case study is that it's a really fascinating insights into the opportunity, right? And so, for example, this article is called "How In the Lab Went Global by Building a Membership Culture Around Their Brand." So basically, what they talk about on with their content is they had free basketball content online. That's what they were training people to do, is how to be a better player, drills, fitness, health, all this stuff. They're teaching you to kind of be a better, well-rounded player. And there was a huge amount of appetite for even more detailed advice around this stuff. And so you can imagine whether it's younger players, you're just starting out, you're in high school, to up to college, to even NBA. They've had NBA, actual professional athletes come and do mentoring sessions and all that stuff too. And so their COO, Naveen Ramharak, he had this idea. They decided, okay, we're gonna create this exclusive membership platform using Uscreen at the center of it all. And so this is a really fascinating article if you want to go into more detail around what would a membership portion of my business look like? How would I even do that? And so they talk about how they built this kind of community-focused brand on Uscreen, which still allows them to have, free content in other places, but they now have kind of I like to think of it as control, right? Because it's this is one of the reasons that I've been so obsessively focused on building my own direct connection with my community. Because let's face it, if you have built a business, if you're trying to build a business on the social media platforms, that is all good and well for discovery. But when it comes to nurturing those relationships and having, again, that direct connection and saying hey, these are the most engaged people in my audience, and I want to be able to serve them in a much more, in a way that I can control, right? Because you don't have control over the social media algorithms. You don't have control over whether people who follow you or subscribe to you or whatever receive that content. Right. And so this is just another, if you are a serious creator and you're thinking I want to build this business for the long run, I think it's a really important thing to start considering. Okay, what would paywalled content look like for my business? And it's not even about paywalling the content. It's about how can I serve my most engaged audience members in a more detailed way. So anyways, I'm going to drop this link in the chat here. Those of you guys who are tuning in on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram won't be able to see this link, but if you want to catch the link, go to the YouTube video because I have it linked in the description box, but I also linked it in the chat here. I would really encourage you guys to to watch that. And if you do sign up for a free trial, definitely go check it out, because then you definitely should like take advantage of that. Oh, my chat just broke for some reason. I don't know. There we go. Okay, refreshed. So the other thing I wanted to share here is that like look at me, look at my business, right? I have a course, right? And the level of detail, if some of you who are like who are part of my course, you know that like I go into like way more detail in my program than I could ever do on a YouTube video, right? My YouTube videos are like, 5 to 7 minutes usually, so or 5 to 11 minutes, whatever it is. So it's short form content, right? Short-ish. And like the level of detail that I go into my programs, and it's like live oftentimes, it's over Zoom and like all this stuff. I'm answering questions, like the level of detail that I go into in those programs, it's so much, I could never do that on YouTube, right? And so there is a place for figuring out like areas of your business that could benefit from like, hey, there might be some people here actually who would benefit from like see value in like, let's say, paying me money for more detailed support. So anyways, the name of the company, Stephanie Faraz says it's Uscreen. So that's USCREEN. So definitely check them out. If you do go check it out, make sure to tell them we sent you, Creator Wizard sent you. We've got I am Josh Whittick. What's going on? Justin, my boy. What can I say? You're the GOAT. I mean, the real GOAT. I appreciate that, man. That really means a lot to me. Good to see you here, Josh. We got She Fires here in the chat. So again, just wanted to thank Uscreen again for sponsoring this stream. Very, very appreciative of their support. All right, so let's dive into some Q&A, y'all. What questions do you have about brand deals and sponsorships and negotiations? Again, my time is your time. I am here for you. And let's hit it, guys. I'm very excited because we just finished up cohort number 9 of my brand deal wizard program yesterday. Again, it's a 4-week sprint all around sponsorship strategy. And yesterday we had our graduation party. We were all up on our feels. We have so much fun with these little sessions that we do around like that are kind of more fun, and I definitely played graduation music, and everyone was like really emotional because it's an experience. I got to admit, it's definitely an experience. Going through it, and there's always a little bit of some tearful goodbyes at the end of it. So it was really fun, and I always feel. I put my all into these sessions, and so I'm always like, my cup is always like almost close to empty at the end of a cohort. I love it, but my cup is always just like, ugh. So I'm very excited to just have some R&R. D, we got D in the chat. She says, yeah, no one ever wants the cohort to end. That's exactly right, D. My goodness. All right, I'm gonna take a swig. All right. Stephanie in the IG chat says here, Stephanie says, so do you help creators to grow and connect to brands? What do you do exactly? So great question, Stephanie. So yeah, a lot of creators ask me, like, what do you do as a sponsorship coach? Like, do you help me grow my platforms? Do you help me, like, are you the one facilitating and like pitching brands on my behalf? No, I actually don't. Number one, I don't help you grow your social media following. There's other coaches out there who can help you with that. What I focus on is education. I teach you about how to create a robust sponsorship strategy for your own business. One of my fundamental beliefs is that 99% of creators should not have managers. And if you believe that the way in which you're going to like transform your business or the inflection point for your career and making a bunch of money is to I just need to find someone to get those deals for me on my behalf. And I can just focus on the, the creative stuff, which is what I really love. And my theory and what I talk about a lot in my content and my programs and stuff is that it's actually you. You're the person who has to be at the top. You are the one who is creating this business for yourself. And so the onus is on you to learn this stuff and to educate yourself, not only to understand once you ultimately do bring in people into your business. Let's be clear. What I'm not saying is don't hire people. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that if working with brands, if collaborating with partners is a core fundamental revenue source for you, and you perceive it to be such for the foreseeable future, then you owe it to yourself to educate yourself around what does it look like to create what I call a sales pipeline, or what I call a sponsorship wheel. What does that look like for your business, right? if you're any other type of business, you have that has a sales process. You have to know like where all these different conversations at with these various partners over the next 6-12 months. You have to know that in intimate detail, because otherwise, how are you going to know how to nurture those deals? How are you going to know how to bring those deals to fruition? You're not, if you're not tracking it. And so this is what I teach, is like how do you create a system? How do you create a process to make it so that brand deals are not unpredictable? Because this is what most creators believe, is that brand deals they're great when you can get them, but you can't rely on them because you never know when they're going to land in your inbox. And so what I teach is that you cannot just rely on deals coming inbound to you. You have to supplement all those opportunities with outbound proactive outreach, which is also called pitching. So this is really what I teach, is I educate you. I do not take a cut of your deals. I can't tell you how many people have, like, on a daily basis, this is what is in my DMs. Oh man, this is all great. Thanks for teaching me, but do you manage people? Can you just, I'll give you 20%, 25%, 15%, whatever. Like, can you just manage this? Can you just handle this for me? I just want to focus on the content. And so I always respectfully push back and I say to people, look, I actually went so far as to write an article around why I don't manage people anymore, or why because I used to run an agency, right? I never really truly managed people in that way, but I used to actually facilitate deals for creators, but I don't do that anymore because I so fundamentally believe in, if you want to be doing this for a long time period, you need to be the one to intimately understand your business. You need to be the one to intimately understand your value proposition in the market. Why, if you're working with brands, why do they want to partner with you and not this other creator over here, or not these other 100 creators over here who are willing to do it for free? Why is it that they're going to partner with you? Right? You have to understand that fundamentally at its core. What is your value proposition? What is your service level agreement, your promise that you're going to make to prospective partners? What is that promise for you? Because it's different. It's going to be different than someone else, right? And so this is what I teach. This is how I help people understand, what is it? Like, what is my marketable thing that I'm going to be? Well, what is your creator identity? What is your brand as a creator? Which is why this conversation around picking a profitable niche is such a critical one, because you have to sit down and be reflective on this. Like, what is it about me? Why do people want to follow me? Why do people care what I have to say? Because that same thing is going to be the thing that's going to help you get in the door with a brand partner, right? And so you can have that conversation. Modern Commerce says pipeline building and putting content out both seem like full-time gigs. I've heard Colin and Samir say, if you are the creator, you should work towards that being your sole focus. You disagree. I do disagree. Yeah. I disagree for the following reason, which is that if maybe there is a point in your business where you are getting, millions and millions and millions of views or 10 millions of followers or whatever. And yeah, it totally makes sense to bring in someone to be the business person, right? To handle all that for you. Then yeah, maybe that's fine. That's all good and well. But again, I'm talking about the vast, vast, vast majority of creators are never going to get to that point. And that's okay, right? Like, getting tens of millions of followers and all that stuff like that doesn't have to be the goal for everyone. I think it's going to be the more likely scenario where you're going to be maybe you and an editor or a thumbnail artist if you're a YouTuber, or a VA, or it's going to be a small team, a handful of people. And so it's going to be necessary for you to not only do the creative stuff, which you also enjoy, but to also keep the lights on and understand, if I work with brands, then I need to really understand how this stuff works. And I need to be able to feel comfortable getting on a call, being able to be comfortable, like exchanging an email with the brand in a professional way. Like, those are skills that you need. Understanding like all the different parts, like I'll also be real with you. Like, if you pick a niche, and if you are the person who is the go-to person in your niche, you don't need that many people. You don't need that many partners to work with for it to be a meaningful amount of revenue for you to have a really robust and enjoyable livelihood. I'm not talking about you need to have 50, 100 different brands in your pipeline. That's going to drive you nuts. And that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is like maintaining a pipeline of a handful of really great partners. Like, that's a manageable thing for most people. And so I just think it's a cop-out to say, you know what, I'm going to push off this thing. I'm going to push off this, this stuff that like, that's not my strength. Like, I just get into this to like be to focus on the creative stuff. Like, I'm just going to like find someone who will handle this for me. Like, I think it's a cop out. And so again, what I'm not saying, I do also fundamentally believe in focusing on your zone of genius. I definitely believe that. But that doesn't mean that you also shouldn't realize, because here's the other thing. Like, I wrote a whole article on this about like why I believe like you shouldn't have a manager. And in fact, like, should I just drop it? I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop the article because I gave a lot of thought to this. So let me see if I can find it real quick. So those of you who are tuning in on like YouTube, or here we go. 99% of creators should not hire managers. Here's why. So I posted that in the chat. And the other reason, like, here's my argument here. I believe that, number one, the financial incentives are misaligned. If the way in which a manager eats, the only way that they eat is if they get 20% of your business, 20% of your deals, then there is going to become a time where there is going to be friction between you if they want you to take a deal that you don't really want to take. Now, I'm not saying that this is all managers. There are definitely good ones out there who won't try to exert this level of pressure on you. But I have experienced this firsthand, that if you start saying no, like, no, this isn't a good opportunity for me. No, this isn't a good opportunity for me. The manager is going to start being like, I'm going to stop like putting in effort for this creator because I sold this deal through and they said no at the very last minute. It makes me look stupid to the brand of the agency. I'm not going to get a paycheck anymore because this creator is saying no, or they're being difficult. And it's just not a tenable situation. Okay, that's number one. You're also building their Rolodex, not yours. Especially if you are trying to completely detach yourself from this process, you are now not CC'd on emails because you don't want to even worry about that. They're handling everything. And what happens when you get to this point where it's like a lot of friction with the manager, and now they decide that they want to walk away, and you now don't have any connections to those brands that you were working with over the last year because they were the one handling it. Not a good situation. Another thing is that you don't know how you're being represented in the market. I can't tell you how many times I have been working with a creator when I ran the agency for 7 years, where I had to work through the creator's manager, and the manager was an absolute nightmare. They were unprofessional. They were rude. They were not responsive. It took days and days for me to get answers from them on like very simple aspects of the campaign. I wanted to go directly to the creator and be like, do you realize how this manager is making you look? It is making our agency, and I guarantee you other brands, not want to work with you anymore simply because of your manager, the unprofessionalism of your manager. And it kills me because it pains me because I think a lot of creators don't really realize how their manager is behaving or how they're being represented in the market. And so this is like a very real challenge, a very real existential risk to your own business. Again, I've talked about this, is that I think you're robbing yourself of an education. Like, you need to be the one, especially in the early years of growth, to understand how this ecosystem works. And that is why I'm here. That is why I'm trying to talk about this topic. Also, again, I believe there are other higher leverage people that you should hire instead. So what I'm not saying is don't hire people. Don't let that be the takeaway from this conversation. I'm not saying don't hire people. I'm saying it probably makes way more sense to like hire a VA to help you manage a lot of this stuff. Like, you know, your email inbox if you're getting inundated, a video editor if you're a YouTuber, graphic designer, social media manager to help you manage your accounts and engagement, whatever, right? Those are higher leverage things to hire first before you hire someone to take 20% of every deal. Okay, so like this is just like a basic like overview of like why I believe this. I totally respect other people's perspectives. And again, what I'm not saying is don't focus on your zone of genius. I absolutely am. But that doesn't mean that these are mutually exclusive. That's my whole point here, is that we're all very competent. We're all very competent people. And we've done a lot to grow this business to the point that it's at. And so don't immediately just hand the reins over to someone that you may not even know that well. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Let me take a swig because I think I went off on a little tangent there. Stephanie says, I am sold. How do I hire you? Well, Stephanie, shoot us a note, inquiries, or actually just why don't you do support@creatorwizard.com. You can DM me on social media. Just go to my website, creatorwizard.com, to fill out a contact form, and we can share how the various ways in which we can help you. So I appreciate it. Bianca says, you're right. Like, Bianca says, you're right. Look with this emoji. Good to see you here, Bianca. Again, like, let's talk about this. Like, I hope you're okay with me giving you another shout out, Bianca. Like, I just hired a team to help me in my business to help with inbox management and calendar management and just general like operations and project management and stuff like that, I hired Bianca and her team. And so like, this is something I'm now 3 years into the business basically. And now I am hiring people so that I can focus on my zone of genius. But again, I am still the one making the executive. I'm the chairman of the business. I'm chairman. I'm at the top. I am making these high level business strategy decisions. That should still be my purview. And yes, I can bring people in to fill various roles to help me execute on some of this, but it ultimately comes down to me. It ultimately comes down to me. Okay. And if that resonates with you, you know what, I actually do think that I want to learn this, then you're in the right place. Okay. And so this is just the perspective that I bring. I understand this is not the perspective of everyone, and that's okay. But like for those of you who this resonates with, you're in the right place. Okay. All right. So let me scroll up here. I've had a ton of questions come in as I've been going off on this rant. Drea says, wow, congratulations, Justin. That's big stuff. You're amazing at what you do. Keep up the spectacular work. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. She Fires has a great question here. I am planning to attend an in-person industry event. What's a suggestion to approach new potential partnerships? I love this question. So yeah, a lot of creators ask me, like, I'm going to be going to a conference or an in-person event. How do I make the approach and have a conversation with perhaps vendors or brands who are sponsoring this conference? Because all these folks are like probably good sponsors for me and my platform and my online business, et cetera. Like, how do you have that conversation without like feeling like you're kind of doing a sales pitch? And it's very easy. When you walk up to them and when you start having these interactions, don't be like, hey, I would love to collaborate with you. I'd love to partner with you, and hand them your business card. That's going to feel icky to them, right? It's going to feel like not great. And so don't do that. My suggestion is, it's very simple. You go up and you just start asking them questions about their company objectives. Hey, how's the conference going for you? What were you hoping to get out of being here, out of sponsoring this event? What are some of the initiatives that you have for this year, right? Like, are you releasing any new products, new features? Are you launching anything? I'm curious about what your marketing initiatives are for the rest of the year. That's the conversation that you have. And then naturally, out of that conversation, they're going to be like, so what do you do? Right? And so it's like, it goes from, it's about them and like, what are they trying to accomplish, to a natural segue into you talking about how you could potentially serve them. And now you know what they're trying to accomplish, right? And so rather than being like, come up and, hey, sponsor me, hey, come up and partner with me, here's my business card, it's, hey, I can help you accomplish all those things you just identified by sponsoring me. And so it's the same thing, it's just the positioning is different. Does this make sense? So you'll now come away from that conference in the mind of these sponsors of like, oh, this person actually like cares. It's not a transactional thing. It's like, oh, they actually are interested in like what we are trying to accomplish as a brand, as an organization. And this really goes at the very heart of what I teach in my pitching methodology called the rope method, which is that your pitches have to be them focused. It's not about you. They don't care about you, candidly. At this conference that a creator might go to, there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of attendees. All of these people are going to be coming up and vying for their attention, probably trying to vie for their business. And everyone else is going to be like, what's in it for me, 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 me. Here's my business card. Let's partner. I have this many followers. I have this audience. I have this, blah, 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 blah. And these brands, these companies probably have no idea who you are. They don't care. They're probably going to throw your business card away because it just felt icky. Contrast that with you going in there, even if you don't have a super sizable audience, even if you don't have a super sizable like footprint on social media, it's just going to feel as though this is someone we want to get to know because they actually seem interested in what we're trying to accomplish as an organization. Does this help? Does this help? All right. All right. Ari says, thanks. This helps a lot. Of course. AGM says it's so fascinating. Thank you for sharing. Of course. I'm so glad. ALE Dream a Gay on, Dream Game On, says exactly what I want to know on TikTok. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Let me scroll down. I'm oh my gosh, She Fires dropping the $20 super chat. Holy cow. I appreciate that so much. That really, really means a lot to me. So thank you. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. Those of you guys who have been on these live streams week over week, you know that any super chats that you donate during these live streams goes to Friday dinner in. We do Friday movie night with my kids, but my wife and I, we order like food like DoorDash. So this goes to the DoorDash fund, and then we have like a little date night in while the kids are watching their movie. So these super chats always go to the DoorDash fund. So appreciate you very much. All right, let's see here. Okay. Modern Commerce has a follow-up question on this whole idea around hiring a manager. Do you think actually hiring an internal team member to lead partnerships or sales or something like that makes more sense than hiring a manager from a management service? Not management related, not monetization related, but as a middle-class creator, I hope that's not offensive. What's your approach to collaboration? Are you intentional trying to get featured on pods? Okay, so that's a separate question. So I'm going to address your first question because I actually think this is a really, really important thing. Developing expertise internally in your creator business is the ultimate goal, right? Because it's in the process of developing what I call your standard operating procedure that you're going to uncover your special sauce. Okay. Because if you hire an external manager or an external agent to slot you into their system of how they do sales for creators, for everyone in a lot of different niches and fashion and finance and, travel and food and like all the various different platforms and all that stuff. And they're pitching everyone kind of the same way. It's going to rob you of realizing, what is it about me? What is it about my business? And what is it about me and my content that brands really are most excited about? Right. And that's going to really vary based on the brand and the organization. And so developing that expertise and really having a pulse on what that is in your business is so critical. And so regardless of who you have in your organization, whether it's an internal team member or someone else in your, maybe it's an assistant, someone you comes up as a VA, and then you guys work together to develop this like kind of sales process to the point where you ultimately feel comfortable having them be that person where they're actually going and pitching on your behalf and all this stuff too, which is something that a lot of creators who have gone through my program have gone on to do. That is so much more valuable because once you are able to document that process, right, you create a SOP, a standard operating procedure. Now, if anything ever happens where that internal team member, decides to resign or move on to a new opportunity or wants to shift into another role, you now have that documented where your special sauce can be then transferred to a new team member or someone that you onboard. And because again, like for example, I have a very, very particular way in which I interact with sponsors. Like it's just my own method. Like I want to deliver everything 100% on time, usually early. I'm going to provide a certain level of service. Like I want to make sure that if a sponsor ever comes inbound with a question, those emails are being responded to within 24 hours. Like there's just like very small examples of like things that are important to me and my business that I believe represents what I am doing in the best possible light. And this is, again, could potentially vary depending on your content niche or your vertical. Right. And so like, this is like a really, really important distinction to make is that you have to develop your own bespoke process for how you interact with partners. And it's very like, I can't even tell you, I work with so many different types of creators in so many different niches, not just consumer focused. Like I just did a coaching call with a creator who has a developer conference. Like this is like a coder, like person who has a conference, thousands of attendees, and they are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sponsorships for these conferences. Right. And so like, that's a very different business. That's a very different business. And they have a very unique process for how they interact with sponsors. And so like outsourcing that competency to someone who like works with TikTokers, like who dance or something, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, TikTokers who are like doing food content or whatever, like those are like apples and oranges businesses in my opinion. And so like, this is the reason why developing this expertise in-house, in my opinion, that is the lifeblood of your does this make sense? All right. I'm going to take a swig here. All right. Holy cow, Tyler, you are so kind. Tyler just sent a $10 super chat. Thank you, Justin, for your brilliance and kindness. I learned so much from your brand deal course. Best money I have spent on a YouTube course. It benefited me and my creator clients. Tyler, that is so kind of you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You were such an awesome addition to the program, and I appreciate you. Holy cow, we got another one. It's just like it's coming out the woodwork today. ALE Dream says, what is this? Lemon character running, then kneeling on the floor, his arms wide open, and a slice of lemon appearing behind him. Oh, this is like... I was like so confused by this. So if there's no text, it's just like an emoji. It's a description of the emoji on Restream, because that's what I used to do live streaming. So thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that very much. I was so confused. I was like, what is this? I thought it was like a secret message or something. So appreciate you guys. You guys are like blowing me away with the super chats, super stickers today. That really means a lot. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Stephanie says, that's so true. I was so inclined to get a manager, but now listening to you, I gave up. Man, like this is like huge right here. Like I'm gonna screenshot this comment because that actually makes me happy. Again, like everyone has their own tribe. Everyone understands or like has a different preference when it comes to this type of thing. And that's totally okay. There is more than enough room for everyone to have varying opinions. And by the way, I know a lot of great people who are managers. I really, truly do. And this is part of the reason that I was scared to like talk about this topic more, because I knew that I was going to hurt some of my friends' feelings. And so you know what I did? This is just like goes like back to my personality, is I called them all up before I started talking about this whole thing around creators shouldn't have managers. And I basically said, look, you're a really close friend, and I really appreciate you and your contributions to the creator economy. And I think what you do is so great for the clients that you work with. But I'm going to start talking about this thing that I feel really strongly about, that I don't think most creators should have managers. But I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up that this is like what I'm going to do. And I was so terrified to have those conversations for the longest time. I can't tell you. Like, this is one of the reasons why I haven't done it. Like, it's been 3 years of doing this and I haven't like said this, because I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm just like that. I think I'm kind of a people pleaser in that way. But I just feel so strongly about it. Like, this is a really, really, like, again, this spiky point of view kind of thing. I have so much conviction behind this belief that I just felt I was just like, I can't not talk about this anymore. I have to talk about this. And it's going to repel some people, but it's also going to attract some people. It's going to attract some people who this resonates with, that like, no, I could see this. I could see like being the CEO of my business. Like that's actually something that is attractive to me. And I think that, you know what, I am going to learn this stuff. I like, candidly, like, I think I have a better model. I have my courses, but I also have this ongoing coaching program where it's asynchronous one-on-one support, and it's $1,000 a month or $10K for the year, depending on, you know, how long you want to commit for. And it is on-demand sponsorship coaching. And so we are 100% objective. We will equally tell you that this deal that came inbound to you sucks. Don't take that deal. That's a bad deal. Or something seems up. These are red flags, right? Remember, we are not eating based on a percentage of this deal. We are receiving a flat fee per month. We're not, you know, if you make $100,000 on sponsorships, we're not taking 20K from that. We're taking 1,000 because that's how much you're paying us a month. The analog I give is fee only financial advisors versus ones that take a percentage of assets under management. It's the same parallel. It's like, I will much rather pay the, you know, financial advisor who's going to charge me $500 an hour or $300 an hour, whatever it is, to give me, you know, 10 hours of advice than I will someone who's going to take 1% of my entire portfolio every year. I look at it in the same way. And so I think I have a better model, candidly. Not everyone agrees with that. But like, this is something that I'm exploring, and candidly, man, the people who are in this ongoing program, you know, these are people who are making multi six figures on sponsorships every year. So it's kind of a no-brainer investment for them. And they can, you know, send in questions, videos, you know, emails that they're getting from brands. And again, these are people who are comfortable getting on calls with brands and comfortable, you know, interacting with a brand via email, and they just need a backstop. They just need to say, hey, I'm about to send this to the brand. Does this look right? Like, what do you think about this pricing? Like, does this look good? Like, this is the benefit of what we provide. So I'm pretty excited because I think that this model, more and more creators are going to get excited about it, because I think there is a lot of people out there who want to run their business in that way. They're comfortable being the CEO and having a few key other or, maybe it's just them, right? I have several creators in this program who is just them, and they really value kind of having someone to bounce stuff off of, right? So anyways, I'm pretty bullish. I think it's, what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat, what you think of this model. Because I'm pretty bullish on it. I could easily see in, a handful of years, I have 100 creators in that program. Because I just think it's, I don't know. I think it's compelling. Let's see. Tyler's asking, is there a live component to the monthly membership? I'm interested in this and recommend to my creator clients. Appreciate that, Tyler. So there's not a live component. It's asynchronous. So we use an app called Clarity Flow. And every Tuesday and Thursday morning, you can send in videos, text, PDFs, email, drafts, whatever, using this tool, voice notes, whatever. And then every Tuesday and Thursday morning, our team, it's not just me now, I have other coaches in there, can provide advice on these various opportunities that creators are working on. So there's no live component. There's not like live Zoom calls or whatever. One thing that I have found is that the creators who are most interested in this, they're busy, right? They're doing lots of content. They have a lot of things going on, and the live component wasn't really something that they cared about. It was candidly, I just need help with this. Like, I'm going to shoot you off a quick 2-minute video. Like, hey, what do you think about this? And then we are able to send it back. And so in this way, it's like a much more scalable solution for us to maintain this kind of ongoing expertise for people, or ongoing support. And so yeah, that's in the current version of the program. It's asynchronous support. So I think it's actually pretty valuable because, my coaching calls, it's $1,000 for an hour. That's the investment. It's $1,000, but it's $1,000 a month for this ongoing offer. And so that's, every Tuesday and Thursday. So it's like there's, theoretically a minimum of 8 touch points throughout the month that you're able to get support. And so I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, Tyler, if you have any questions about it, please follow up. And I appreciate that. And by the way, if you are interested in recommending it to your clients, we do have a referral program for Wizards Guild. So like an affiliate type thing. So hit me up. All right. Ari says, what is the difference between the $500 versus $1,000 coaching option? Is that what you mean on TikTok? All right. So this is what I'm most excited about is I do have a $500 coaching option. And you know what that is a public coaching call. And so what I've started doing is I've said, look, if you are comfortable with me sharing our coaching call together on social media, I will give you 50% off my coaching rate. And so I've released one of those, videos so far. I released the entire coaching call. So I redacted, this is the thing, is I redact all the brand names and the, contact names and all that stuff. But if you're comfortable me sharing on YouTube, basically, the actual coaching call that we have, I'll give you a percentage off. And so it's this really cool thing where it's like you get a coaching call, but I also get content. So I feel like it's a win-win thing. And I've had like the most unbelievable feedback from people who have watched these. Like, I'm like pulling back this is like a real coaching call with a creator. And so the one that I released was like, we analyzed 3 different email negotiations that this creator had. And the video was about how, like, what could we have done differently? Because they ultimately lost the deals. And so it was like, what could I have done during this negotiation to ultimately try to like turn that around in the future? And so I think, I don't know, anyone like watched that video, like who was on the live? Cause I think that it was like amazing. And I'm just getting ready to release another one. I'm hoping on Monday. And I just did another live coaching call yesterday, which was fire. Oh my God. I did it with this creator named Heidi. Her handle is So Heidi. So she teaches like fashion designers, and man, this coaching call was fire, guys. I can't wait to release it. So I'm excited. I'm just getting excited to kind of play and play with these new formats. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Ari says, that's awesome and very helpful. Is the call on your YouTube? So no, it's recorded. So it's not a live coaching call. So, sorry. The call is live that I'm doing with you, but we use a tool called Riverside to actually like record it. But then I edit it. So like, it's not like it's happening. It's not like a live stream. We record it and then I send it to my editors basically to like make it look all nice and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then, yeah, we ultimately post it on YouTube and all that stuff. Raman Ransi says, yes, it was amazingly helpful to see. Love to see it. Appreciate that. Irvine says, I watched the video. Yes. Max says it was great. Yes. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. We're going to release a new one on Monday, hopefully. And I think it's going to gonna be fire. All right. Yeah, Bianca says, so cool. Yes. Oh, we got Crafting or Crazy. What's going on? Another. Oh, and Nail Gun Nelly. Look at all these Brand Deal Wizard alums are showing up strong. I appreciate you guys so much. Really, really appreciate it. Man, I cannot believe how fast. I say this every time that these live streams go so fast every single time. Again, I just wanted to thank today's sponsor of the live stream, Uscreen, so much for supporting me and Creator Wizard and the business and y'all, because as you know, we're able to like do cooler and cooler things when we have people who support everything that we're doing here at Creator Wizard. And everyone at Uscreen has been so unbelievably delightful to work with. Rob, a big shout out. Srey, who's a CMO at Uscreen. I had dinner with them in Idaho when we went to the Craft and Commerce conference, and just could not be the nicest people. And so really, like if you're looking for, into maybe creating a video membership for your creator business, I'd highly recommend you checking them out. I have a link to Uscreen in the description. And if you do a free trial or kick the tires on it, please let them know that we sent you a Creator Wizard. So anyways, hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful rest of your week. We will be back here for another live stream next Friday. But I guess that's it. I'll see you on the flip side, y'all. Peace.